Mr. Speaker नहीं आ रहा है.
Atul sir, please start. Atul sir?
Unmute. Okay, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much for joining, and I'm sure now we are just 15-20 members, but as the meeting progresses, there will be more and more joining. It's a pleasure every Sunday of the month, first Sunday of the month, and to be here on screen. But meeting in person is always more rewarding, I would say. So we have this monthly first Sunday meetings. We have conducted almost 3 or 4, and it's all the team effort of AHA Nasik under the leadership and guidance from Ramakant Patil sir, who is our EB member, and Amol Pawar sir, who is the state secretary. Both are quite energetic and enthusiastic. Basically, the concept was to have some monthly program, educative program on every first Sunday of every month. And we have had stalwarts like NKC Nair sir, Tuteja sir, Bansal sir, Geeta Patil madam herself. CP Bansal sir, we had a last session, excellent session. So all these people we have been trying to contact, and recently I contacted today's 3 speakers, and all 3 of them immediately said yes, because they knew the genuineness of the program, the trust they showed in us. We are really grateful for that. So we have 3 speakers for today. The first speaker is going to be someone Indian, but now in Korea, Dr. Pola Goel madam. And I know her as a very old friend of mine for last maybe 10-15 years, because we are associated in so many programs of AHA. So she is basically a director of Payat Clinic in Mumbai, and her special credentials are in NCDs, non-communicable diseases, and she has got a fantastic work in community health and author of many publications, actually from Mumbai, but now from Korea, Seoul. Dr. Pola Goel madam, I would request you to please share your screen and start your talk.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Atul sir, and the entire everyone over there. And it's an honor to be here, and I'm very grateful to Dr. Atul Kanikar and, of course, the organizing committee for giving me this opportunity. And I'm actually, sir, I'm from Pune, BJ Medical College. You were my senior. You have forgotten that.
Yeah.
So the association is from BJ Medical College, and I'm really glad and honored to be over here. My topic for today is body image concerns in teens and youth. Is the screen visible?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So when we talk about body image, now that has become a hot topic of today. Nowadays, everybody talks of body image and, body shaming. So what is exactly body image? It is nothing but a multidimensional construct where we perceive, think, act, feel, how we act towards our own body. And it has got a lot of emotions which are associated with it. So any individual who goes through these emotions and feels very strongly about it is said to have body image concerns. And this is not just in youth and teenagers, it also exists in children. It starts off from childhood and is present right in senior people also, even in adults and senior citizens. So it's not something which is there only in youth and teenagers, but the process is very dynamic. So in the youth population and in teenage population, because of the growth and development, it even becomes more stronger. Okay, so there can be, it is divided into two parts. You have your healthy body image and your unhealthy or the negative body image, equally in males and females. And it's been a hot topic since the last 35 years. But actually, if you go to see it a little bit on the history of it, so is it only over the last 35 years? So if we look into our childhood, we had this story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, in which the Wicked Queen would say, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? And every time the mirror would show something ugly and say Snow White is the fairest. So I think the thing actually existed many years back till, and this was written by Grimm brothers in 1812. And if you look at the European era at that point of time, they used to make the ladies wear very tight corsets, you know, so as to have that extremely narrow hip and the bigger bust line and the bigger waist. So the hourglass figure, as we say, because that is supposed to be the idea of beauty. And it is something, beauty is something which has to be defined. So this definition actually came up in the last 35 years or so in terms of body image concern. So nowadays, when we look into the mirror and we say, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? The answer comes, when what to my wondering eyes should appear, but 10 extra pounds on hip, thighs, and rear. So here we find that the weight issue becomes a really big problem in today's youth as well as in the teenage years. So when does body image actually become an issue? So most of the, if you see, almost everybody is affected, but when does it become an issue? So there was a study which was carried out by University of Michigan, C.S. Mott's Children's Hospital, in which they said that about 73% of the teenage girls and 69% of the teenage boys are actually affected by body image concerns. And when they are unable to focus on their academics, their career, or their daily routine, and it becomes a point of persistent worry and dissatisfaction, and they're looking to change their appearance in any possible way, then body image really is a concern and needs to be addressed. So the women, they want to become thinner and thinner, and the men want to become very super muscular because that is considered to be the norm. So what are these body image concerns generally about? So they are about the weight, height, skin color. Now, skin color becomes very important in the Asian countries, especially in the Indian subcontinent, where we are still having the European mindset of the fair skin, is the beautiful skin. Then there are cultural differences, religious and traditions. All these also make a lot of difference. So the gender identity, with so many people now there is fairly a chunk of population which is going towards the transgender community. Again, for them, it becomes an issue of body image. Then the clothing and the dress style. And every community will have a particular way in which they are going to observe and identify the individual. So it becomes important. Body art. Now, this is becoming quite important because a large number of teenagers are going in for tattoos and different tattoos, extensive tattoos all over different parts of the body, different piercing, right? Not only just in nose and ears, but even eyebrows, lips, umbilicus, and all funny places they actually keep on piercing. And economic status also plays a very important part. But now they have seen that it's not so much the economic status, because we find that people from the lower socioeconomic strata also have body image concerns. So it's something which is not related to the socioeconomic status, but more or less widespread in community. So what is the effect of negative body image in the adolescent years? So physically and emotionally, it leads to a lot of unhealthy habits. So there is either extremes of behavior. So either the teenager will, not have any particular diet, or they will just about eat everything under the sun and gain a lot of weight, or they will go to the extreme end and have a lot of eating disorders like anorexia nervosa, bulimia, binge eating. And most of these are associated. Food is basically linked to feelings of guilt, shame, or blame. So whenever they are feeling guilty or whenever they have been spoken about, that's a point where the food becomes as a comfort food, and it provides a compensatory mechanism for the individual to find comfort in. And most of these adolescents, they suffer from, there's a lot of self-criticism and self-judgment. They feel very labeled. And this actually becomes the underlying mechanism for the binge eating problems. So there is restriction of food, or if they are not restricting the food or they have binged eat, then it is associated with a lot of, vomiting or use of laxatives or excessive exercise because of the weight issue problems. Now, all these would actually lead to a lot of anxiety as well as depression. So you have social anxiety disorder, which crops in, general anxiety disorder, OCDs, MDDs. So all these emotional problems and the mental health issues, they keep on coming up. And as I said before, there could be either excessive exercising, where they become compulsive exercisers and going to the gym, or doing compulsive cycling or any other form of aerobic activity to lose weight. Or on the other end of the spectrum, they honestly don't care and they're not even bothered about their excessive weight and obesity. So this would also lead to affect their academic problems, because there's poor concentration and lack of focus. Fatigue, overuse injury can occur because of stress factors and pressure source because of excessive exercising, social isolation, and impaired relationship. Many of these adolescents can also then start getting into drug and alcohol abuse and frequent dieting. So all these unhealthy lifestyle, stress, and emotional disturbances finally form the basis of our non-communicable disease, which we are seeing that has increased tremendously over the last couple of years. So most of the time, now these adolescents, the parents are the ones who are first affected, because when they are at home, the parents, they do not know how to deal with it. And when we look at it, we realize that parents also have given us some information. About 2/3 of the adolescents, they are insecure. They have got insecure about their appearance. And a large part of it comes from all the unhealthy messages which are floating around in the social media and on the internet. And as I said before, that it leads to poor mental and emotional health and eating disorders. Now, in this age group, the growth and the development is taking place. As a result, there is obsession with a lot of, with weight, height, facial features, skin conditions, because acne also comes up at this point of time. Hair loss may occur, or the hair growth may get affected. And many of them are also not comfortable with their own facial features. So as a result, they're unable to enjoy their activities and their life, and they do not actually have a social existence in a life, because most of these adolescents are actually behind the social media and they're cut off from their real life friends. So in most of the cases, these adolescents would avoid photographs. They'll not be coming for all family functions. They'll wear baggy clothes. Dietary restrictions would be there. And they are also treated very unkindly, sometimes not only by their peers, but also by their own family members and extended family members. Now, parents at this point of time try to protect their child by counseling them, and many times actually shielding them from people who are sort of unkind to them. So when we look at the adolescents with a negative light, when they're looking at themselves in the negative light, if you see acne and weight issues, they're almost about 31 to 32% of the population. Our hair is about 27%. And if you see nowadays, the younger lot of people, they have different colored hair. So again, it's a norm to go in for different hair colorings, maybe purple, blue, yellow, some strange colorings, because to be with the group. Teeth are almost at 18%, height is at 17%, and strangely, facial features, unhappy with facial features, is at 12%. This is the source from the C.S. Marsh Children's Hospital in Michigan. Now, this is the biopsychosocial, this thing of the body dissatisfaction by Susan Paxton. She's a psychologist and a public health professor at Melbourne. So when she has done this, she's figured out that low self-esteem, depression, perfectionism, and adverse events of life, they would lead to internalization and body dissatisfaction, and which would lead in turn to an extreme weight loss, binge eating behaviors. Similarly, with media and also with friends and relatives and environment, they would also be affected. This would lead to internalization as well as body comparison. So depending on what the media is showing, adolescents would tend to compare themselves, and this would lead to body dissatisfaction. Similarly, body size, comparison of body size would again lead to body comparison and appearances and weight teasing. And of course, there are genetic features and biological features which would also play a role in body image concerns. So when we look at the risk factors, or what is body image influenced by? So in the 12 to 18 years population, it is the cultural, social, physical, and the psychological changes which become important at this stage. And media plays a very important role, because a lot of unrealistic ideal images which are related to diet, exercise, and beauty trends are shown in the media. And children and adolescents try to copy them because they want to be a part of their community. Now, fashion industry plays a very important role, and they use the technology and the optical illusions to actually morph out the images and remove all the imperfections. And there is an overemphasis on the appearance and the way that's how the trends are made and the way one has to look. So Tigman and Slater were two individuals who found out that they did a survey, and they found out that in the age group of 13 to 15 years, for the girls, if they spend a large number of time on the internet and on Facebook, their body image concerns increased dramatically. Then, of course, peers play a very important role, because everybody has to get accepted by the peers. And there's a lot of bullying and teasing, which is basically about shape and weight. And so as a result of which, many of the adolescents, they may imagine a defect which does not exist, and they could be thinking that they are actually having those defects. Then family environment also plays a very important role. In fact, I would say the most important role, because in the family, we have a tendency to judge people and judge our children. And always at that point, we keep on telling them that, oh, you're gaining weight, or you've lost weight. So any social event or gathering or any family function, there would be uncles, aunts, grandparents, extended family who would be there to pass some comment regarding the body size and the weight. And to an extent that even if the child is in the growing phase, there will be some comment passed regarding the appearance. And many times it has been found that the parents themselves have body image concerns. And this becomes very important, because if the mother is having body image concerns, she would be into the point of dieting and vigorous exercise. And that is the point when she will expect her children to do so. Similarly, if the father is a person who's very active and is a gym-going individual, they are going to be very strict with their children regarding the appearance and the looks. Then the individual traits of the adolescent. So at this point, we know this is a growth phase and the secondary sexual characters are coming up. But also if the child has got precocious puberty or delayed puberty, then they are going to be in for a lot of bullying as well as teasing, and they're most likely to develop a negative body image. So these are some of the unrealistic ads which are put up by the media. So something like, are you beach body ready? So if you are, is this really you? So as to mix with your group of friends, you need to look so perfect. Fair and Lovely, which has been in the market for absolutely, I think, I don't know how many years. It's been there from the time since I was growing up. So all these are there. Milk for Real Men. So, I mean, this sort of thing, which is something which affects the teenagers as well as the youth, that this is the sort of body which you would require. This is the sort of looks. This is the sort of facial features which one is required to have. And that is where the problem finally stems from. Also, when we look at it, there's a lot of internalization which occurs. So every time somebody passes a comment, the teenager is going to actually internalize the whole thing. And there would be a pressure to conform to the norms. So it has been found that when you look at the 10th standard girls, they figured that they want to be very thin because it is critical to be attractive to the boys. So they have to have an unnatural thinness which is there. And what is very strange is 85% of the boys also perceived that if the girl was thin, she was attractive. So this is again something which has to be addressed, because this is again a wrong norm. Then adolescents with physical disabilities is another big point where a lot of body image issues comes up, but that's a different thing which needs to be addressed in a different session. So how do we recognize whether there are body image issues in the teenagers? So if the teenager is very preoccupied with their physical appearance, so they are spending large amounts of time in front of the mirror. Now, we need to understand that at this age, it is normal for the teenager to be standing in front of the mirror and observing themselves. However, if it goes to the point where they're avoiding social situations, they don't want to come in for photos, they don't want to get out of the house, they are interested in all cosmetic procedures, and there is an extreme interest in makeup right from 12 to 13 years of age. They are so dissatisfied with their bodies that they are constantly comparing themselves with somebody else, and they have a negative talk about their body and they want to change their body. Either they are extremely this thing that they want to go in for the gym and they keep on imagining that they have put on weight, or they're already going in for signs of eating disorders, and there is already symptoms of anxiety, depression, or excessive perfectionism. It may also lead to body image issues. If any of these sort of keep on coming up, then the parents have to be aware that they require help for the child. So is there any way in which we can measure the level of body image dissatisfaction? So we could measure self-esteem in the individual with the Rosenberg self-esteem scale, along with the Likert scale, and that is from strongly agree score 1 to disagree score 4, and the higher scores indicates the higher self-esteem. Factors like BMI, higher BMI and higher socioeconomic conditions would also be associated with the body image dissatisfaction. Urban adolescents have a higher body image dissatisfaction as compared to rural, and high body image dissatisfaction, it is associated with depression also. So there is some way in which we can identify and say that these are the factors or these are the criteria in which what is the extent of the body image concern. Now, what are the treatment options? One, and the most important thing, is the cognitive behavioral therapy, psychotherapy, family and peer support, gender role support. This is specifically for gender identity individuals, coping strategies, life skills, medications, if any, for any treatment of whether there is any NCD or any anxiety or depression, anything has to be treated, physical fitness therapies, and basically a holistic and wellness and maintaining balance. And of course, the media and social media education also should be a part of the treatment. So when we look at the management, it has to be parental management, school management, community management, and medical management. Now, coming to the parental management, the parents have to be good role models, because if the parents themselves are suffering from body image concerns, it is going to be a major threat to the entire family. Communication should be very open, and we have to tell them that there is beauty in imperfections. Everything does not have to be picture perfect, but there is so much of beauty in imperfections as well. Healthy lifestyle plays a very important role, and avoid fad or crash diets. Accepting the genetics, because they too play a part in body size and shape. It is necessary to point out the strength of the individual, strength of the child, whether it is how helpful they are, what is the level of humor, or any other special skills. So what about the creative skills? Are they good at singing, any painting, any other sports activity? So anything which makes them feel good and makes them feel positive about themselves. And they need to view the whole body in terms of health, not in terms of something which is good or bad. Physical activity, as I said, is very important. Subtle comments and messages must be avoided regarding body shape and weight. Teasing about weight and appearance is absolutely a no-no and should never be encouraged, even by family members, even by close family members. And we have to be very critical and explain to the child, the teenager, that how the media actually morphs and uses technology to hide the imperfections and create that perfect look. And parents should also be open to professional help if required. Now, School management. Now, this is something which is very much doable, and I think we need to do this for the schools, because the school counselors actually can create developmentally appropriate approaches for assessment, consultation, and case management. They can take up individual as well as group counseling interventions. They can have interventions between the students, staff, as well as the parents, and discuss the risk factors with the student checklist assessment and highlight the features for concerns. Teachers can identify and document excessive perfectionism, irritability, lack of focus, or any other cognitive changes, lethargy, frequent bathroom visits, and they can all be documented and put forth to the school authorities to be discussed with the parents. Life skill education should be taken up in schools. Peer influence is very important. That is why the schools must identify and recognize fat talk, whether in the form of verbal or written or artistic displays. Anything which has got to do with body dissatisfaction has to be taken up very actively. Peer mentoring is important, like they have healthy buddies and girls on the run, wherein the older student can actually support the younger students in terms of knowledge, behavior, attitudes, as well as habits. Homeschool partnership. So this becomes important because if sometimes the parents have very unrealistic expectation from their children, and the schools and the teachers also have very unrealistic expectation from certain students. And so they need to discuss and sit together and discuss what is the expectation from that child, and then take it accordingly. So supportive dialogue between school and family, and promote in healthy physical activity for resilience, teamwork, and sportsmanship. Also, collaborative efforts between the school cafeteria and the child-focused cafeteria. So what is the type of food which they are serving? And the food choices should be something which the children want, but it has to be healthy food. And they should also be at a point where they can bond and make friendship during lunches and recess. Also, positive communication between adults and children around body image. So the teachers in the school must also try to promote it to the parents, and conversations with the caretakers. So sometimes the children have a habit of drawing or also writing certain things. And this can be very helpful because it will help to identify an early detection and prevention of body image concerns. Now, community management. Now, negative body image, which is there, as we know, because it is coming from the community, because the community has set down the parameters, so that it increases the risk of unhealthy lifestyle, restrictive eating, overeating, dieting, overexercise, and also disordered weight control or behaviors, abnormal behaviors. So what can the community do? As a community, we could have open space for physical activity, healthy food campaigns can be got on, marathons can be organized, open air gyms can be kept, where anybody of any age can get together and do physical activity. Gadget detox is very important, like staying away from the gadget for 24 hours in a week helps to a certain extent, and social media education. Medical management, as doctors, we all know that when the patient comes to us, not only the treatment of the specific condition, but cognitive behavior therapy and advocacy of healthy lifestyle. This is very important because unless and until we keep on advocating it, it's not going to work. And research on this subject will also give us good information on how to deal with body image concerns. So when we look at body image issues, the one thing which comes to my mind is the adolescent or the youth, they go through the phase where you have to conform to your family, to your culture, to the media, to so many things. And at the end of the day, there is a very big question on who am I? And are we really willing to talk about it? So the key messages would be, adolescent is a critical period of growth where various social, cultural, physical, and psychological changes are taking place, and they have a significant effect on the physical as well as the mental and emotional health. So body image is basically a complex relationship which is there between weight status and body image, along with internalization and social influences. The consequences would lead to physical activity avoidance or excessiveness, eating disorders. And positive body image is something that we need to promote, but we have to promote it by saying that it is healthy lifestyle with a healthy body, not positive and negative body image, but healthy lifestyle with a healthy body. And use of social media wisely to avoid the harms of comparison. Parents, school, community, and the medical fraternity plays a very important role in diagnosing and preventing body image concerns. So with this, we have to say only one thing, that take care of your body. Is the only place you have to live. And each body is beautiful, no matter whatever shape we are in. Thank you so much for your patient hearing.
Excellent talk, ma'am.
Excellent talk, Pola madam. Because there are
Thank
no
you.
questions in the comment box, I have few queries for you to answer. Are you there? Yeah. We see a lot of teenagers, especially boys, and nowadays even girls, joining gym prematurely before they are actually medically permitted to go for a gym, and they engage in some even protein powders and unhealthy types of tonics consumption. So I want your comment on that.
So
Kindly.
2 points regarding the gym. So the gym should only be attended to after all their bones have fused, epiphysis has fused, not before that. Because when they are doing the gym, there is the destruction of the epiphysis and the final growth is affected. So if they have to go to the gym, the only thing which they can do is the elliptical and the treadmill. But even the treadmill, it is better, because why would anyone want to get inside the gym? They could play field sports, which gives rise to a lot of team bonding and leadership skills, and overall growth and development would take place. Now, regarding the protein powders, a large number of them are into these whey protein powders. Whey protein powders, we know, are very dangerous because they put a load. So when they are taken over a period of time, they put a pressure on the kidneys. So if a teenager, let's say 13 or 15-year-old, has started taking whey proteins, by the time they reach in their mid-20s, and they have consumed whey protein over so many years, it actually damages and causes a lot of kidney issues and problems. So
and what
it should
about anabolic steroids in the protein?
Oh yes, those are completely dangerous, because I had one patient who had come to me. He was a 19-year-old who had come with steroids because he was injectable steroids. So again, they cause a lot of damage.
Testicular atrophy and all that.
Yes, completely testicular atrophy. And what happens if you see, because the final height is affected, they all have this funny, they are short statured with a lot of beefing up in the upper extremities and short lower extremities. So if you look at a large number of these youth group, you will find that many of them are there because, and a large chunk of this population is actually introduced into the gym by their parents.
Okay, one another comment here is many girls especially, they are now actually putting something very exposing or revealing type of clothes just to compensate their whatever body image they perceive, they feel. So what is your comment on that? How do you basically approach a teenager who walks into your clinic about body image concerns? What questions would you suggest us which we should ask our teenagers visiting to our clinics?
So I think what we need to do is more or less try to explain to them that there is beauty in imperfections. So even if they are whatever they are, whether they are dark skinned, fair skinned, they have curly hair, straight hair, nose at this level, that is not important. So it is the imperfection which makes them beautiful. And along with their entire...
Do we include this in the health assessment?
Yes, we need to, because what we need to actually tell across to them is that it is their self-confidence and their self-esteem. Even if it is very strong, no matter how they look, they are going to shine.
But how do you know in your clinic that the child is actually concerned or anxious or in pain because of the body image?
Because their entire structure shows. So when they typically come into the clinic with the body image concerns, there would be something like they would be wearing some type of clothing where the parent is non-conforming to it, or they have got multiple ear piercings done, or there's a lot of body art done. Or
so you can make out by their appearance.
It's one thing is their appearance, and secondly is that even if their appearance is fine, they are very uncomfortable because there is a lot of fidgeting which goes around. So they are not comfortable in the presence, and they will tend to pick up their phone and constantly look at it. And not just that, sometimes they're not looking at the phone, they're checking at their image in the camera.
Okay. I think we have completed your timeline. It was a very elaborate and beautiful session, madam. So
thank you so much.
Yeah, it was very well learned, and thanks for joining from Seoul. now you are an international faculty for MAHAIP. So now our next speaker is our respected Piyush Gupta sir. Words fail me when I actually want to say anything about Dr. Piyush Gupta sir, because I really don't know how to introduce this master of pediatrics. He is a specialist consultant from newborn to teenage, and he's received the Outstanding Asian Pediatrician Award for the year 2022. That's something commendable. He was, as we all know, President IIP in 2021, and we had this in the semi-COVID phase in Sahara Star Mumbai when he was the President-elect of IIP. He has, I don't know how many publications or what, but to my astonishment, he's published more than 45 books in the field of pediatrics, and the number is in counting. So, I mean, something like, you talk something about God or, of pediatrics, and then we have Dr. Piyush Gupta sir here.
अतुल सर, that's too much. I think अब मुझे बोलने दो, अब आपका हो गया.
नहीं सर, मेरा नहीं हुआ अभी, मेरा नहीं हुआ सर. He is the member of World Association of Editors. Something we are afraid of. Editors are something we are really afraid of. And he's been awarded with National Teacher of Excellence Award, National Teacher of Excellence Award by the Vice President of India. So he's basically teacher of teachers. And there is one saying in Sanskrit, Vidya Vinayena Shobhate. And he is a living example of that particular sentence. I have never found Dr. Piyush Gupta sir in a very authoritative, authoritarian or very commanding way. He's always very gentle, very humble, very polite, and down to earth. But he will object to anything if you say something wrong. And that's why I call him a respectable teacher and respectable person. Over to you, Piyush Gupta sir, for your talk. You can take your own time, no problem.
Thank you, Atul sir. I'm really delighted to be here today with the AHA Nasik, MAHAIP, and all my dear friends. I can see Geeta ji here, Swati here, Sonia, Dr. Paula, and Reena, Sonali, and Shubha, and a lot of others. I won't take their names, but I'm really delighted to see them. So the topic which Atulji has given me today is befitting to him or to Dr. C.P. Bansal sir. They have been talking about this. So what I did was I simply asked for their slides and I combined them, and then I'm presenting them. So all the credit for this talk goes to Atul sir and C.P. Bansal sir. I'm just carrying out what they have told, and then I read. It was good because I could also read the new things about this disorder, which will be there in my last slide, which you will see. So I'll start with my presentation. Is it visible, sir?
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead, sir.
So we talk about the teens and social media. I think we don't need to highlight now that this is now the age of screen-agers. Everybody is a screen-ager, right from an infant, starting from a newborn period to adulthood and even in the older age group. Contents of this session will include a brief introduction to social media and the various types of media, various mobile platforms and usage statistics, and then we'll come to the main thing, that is the positive and negative effects. And finally, what is the management? Management is a bit difficult, as we say, bachav hi upchar hai. So it is better that we have to prevent it, and then a few tips about how to manage it. As we all know, social media is the media which is used for social interaction. As simple as that. There are websites that allow social interaction along with entertainment and communication. And it is not always that they may create a healthy environment for children and adolescents. I'm not talking about the perils of internet. I'm not talking about the perils of screen per se, because there are too many. And I'm sure in the next talk, Sonia ji is going to deal with that too often. And it is the duty of the pediatrician to alert the families to the perils of and the potential problem arising out of the social media that the adults, adolescents and teens are now hooked to. Many types of social media are there. The common ones we know are the most common is our WhatsApp University, and then is a Twitter, Facebook, and Wikipedia, and all you are aware of. I'm not even aware of all of them, but these are just a few examples that we all commonly know. And if you ask a teen, he or she would definitely be able to tell more about and more type of social media. Social media, how is it different from the print media, from the electronic media, digital, other media? It is simply, as we say, as I say that how is the junk food different from the other traditional food? The same is about the social media different from it is highly palatable. So it is highly palatable, and it is, it sorts of create a craving. Like you take a packet of chips and you can't say no, and you will not stop at one. So similar is the result of social media. You can't stop at one. So it is the quality, whatever it may be the quality, but the reach is phenomenal. The frequency with which you can attend the social media, अखबार दिन में एक बार आता है, ठीक है, लेकिन सोशल मीडिया पे न्यूज़ दिन में 10 बार 20 बार आ जाएगा. सोशल मीडिया पे you are always, every second you are reachable. The frequency and reach is thus phenomenal, and immediate transmission of information is there, and it is durable. That means it stays in your mind forever. And the wrong things usually stay in mind for much more time. The right things evaporate much easier when you are hooked to the social media. Here are the few social media platform statistics. As you can see, there is obviously a male preponderance in using it, but maybe that is related to the male-female statistics only. I am not sure that whether to believe the statistics in saying that yes, male or use social media more often. And these are the age groups, and let's restrict to the 16 to 24 age group in this slide, and you can see approximately 25 to 32%. Now this is again older slide, maybe 5-6 years back, and I'm sure the statistics much have grown as the smartphone usage has grown by time. Time spent on social media. This is the average number of hours per day. Again, this is the 2014 statistic. It says in weighted average is around 2 hours per day. But again, this is only on social media. This does not include other sites on internet, other things on internet, or other all other thing on screen, that is a computer. So if the total screen time out of you get awake for around 14 hours, you sleep for 8 hours or 6 to 8 hours, the social, out of that, half of the time is spent on the screen, and out of that also around 30% of time you spend on the social media. India's ranking of internet and platforms, as you can see, WhatsApp, we are users in the first in the world, Truecaller first in the world, LinkedIn second in the world. So we are way ahead of others. अब ये खुशी की बात है, ये दुख की बात है कि हमें नहीं पता. Internet use third and Twitter use third in the world. Maybe it is because we are the largest population. So that is how it is reflecting in that. So that is also true. More than half of India's 1 billion population is under 35 years of age, and it is simply reeling in the wake of mobile phone revolution. And SMS is now a thing of the past. SMS is only now used for electioneering purposes, that to buy the candidates, because WhatsApp, and they are now also moving away from the SMS because a bulk SMS is possible, bulk WhatsApp. It is also now being made possible. As you can see, the candidates are moving also from the SMS to WhatsApp. So there is increased irrational use, prank call, unwanted messages, and interaction. As once again, this is again some more facts about that 87 million user experience internet on their smartphones. And this was again older statistics. As we said, age 15 to 24 years, the teens are the highest number of social media users. And because of this, you won't believe, I have on my Facebook, I have almost 4,000 plus friends, and I don't know more than 3,500 of them. So this is true, because you just have to increase your number of friends. This has become a part of in the teens. So, and that's how the fake profile, cyberbullying. Recently, my own Insta was not hacked, but somebody created a new profile on that Insta with Piyush Gupta _. And he or she extracted all the photographs. Many of you might have received requests for some money on my behalf also in the last 1 month or so. So, as I said, WhatsApp user base, India is #1, and which is over 1/10 of the global users are in India. It is today's craze, and this is the most common disease. Now, this is known as a WhatsApp addiction. This is what we call, but we now have a social media usage disorder. SMUD is a known term that is now has been coined, and there are tools which I'll talk of there has been meta-analysis of the tools of social media usages. So which I'll talk about in the last slide. And we are going crazier day by day, be it school, college, work, anywhere. We skip talking to real people in lieu of the WhatsApp, and that has really become too much. These are a further few scripts from the news media that the social media or the cell phones and Facebook, how they are affecting our life. These are few signs of WhatsApp addiction. If you're checking the message each time your WhatsApp is ringing, you get up even in the middle of the night to check the message, checking the last online time of friends in your contact list, and checking their profile picture, changing your status, continuously checking your phone. And if you love to forward everything you receive, keep a tab on everyone's status, up tab, and wherever, whatever you're doing, even if you're driving, you're eating, sleeping, but you don't forget to reply to a message. The answers to all this question is yes, then yes, you are an official Facebook adept. There are positive effects of everything. So social media is also not devoid of its positive effect. In fact, once we started using it in the beginning, we start using it only for the positive effects. Positive effects kya hai? We remain in touch with our friends. We can see what they are doing. They can see what we are doing. So instead of talking frequently, we can remain in touch. वो bonding जो है वो बढ़ता जाता है. So वो कहते हैं ना कि अगर नजर में नहीं है तो दिल में रहते हैं. अब वो दिल में भी रहते हैं और नजर में भी रहते हैं with the social media. That is the advantage. You can interact with your teachers, the students, teenagers especially. So it is a tool for knowledge enhancement, because on the WhatsApp groups, or people can post the various articles, people can give some news, educational material, and it saves time also, it saves cost also. And teenagers, even if that age they start creating or seeing the job opportunities which they can use later on, and they can look for where they have to study, their important maybe colleges, etc., where they need to go for their further studies. They can access online health information. Now, this is also a problem. Online health information may be there, but this is used without checking the authenticity of the source. And it is very important, because that information can be faulty. As we say, कि कुछ पढ़ के और फिर वो आपके पास या adolescent counselor के पास, they will come with the queries from the WhatsApp University or from the Google only. So as I say, there are positive effects, but gradually positive effects are वो कम होते जा रहे हैं, negative effects बढ़ते जा रहे हैं. It's not like paracetamol कि पॉजिटिव इफेक्ट आज भी ज्यादा है, नेगेटिव कम है, जब जरूरत पड़े तो लेना पड़ता है. लेकिन ये भी जब जरूरत पड़े तभी लेना चाहिए. But it has become ingrained into our mind, into our time, every time. That is a major negative effect, that you get addicted to it. You spend hours and hours on it. And somebody was asking me, I recently went to Jolly Grant. Dr. Ashok Devrari is the principal there, and I gave a talk there, and then he asked me a question: how do you how did you manage to write so many books and so much of time? So I realized that that was only possible because I never had, or in our times, the most of the time, now for last 10 years, maybe I'm using the social media, but before that, there was no social media. And that habit has probably, and I was not watching any television at all also. So I could do so much of work. And that's how the today's generation, the work is less. I say my younger colleagues, because half of the time they're on their social media. So their work output ultimately decreases and they will complain that we don't get any time to do that. Psychological disorders, as you say, the distraction, desire to compare. कि अरे वो तो इस महीने में वो 12 जगह घूम गया, वो हर महीने की स्टैटिस्टिक्स भी आती है, हाँ, द शॉपिंग इतना हो गया. And so there are those issues, and obviously we know that there is a risk of radiation, though it is not fully proven, but yes, definitely there is a lot of radiation around it. How it affects our mind, how it affects our body, it can definitely have more negative effects than causing something positive effects. You compromise on your play time, you compromise on your reading. And I still feel when I read, I need the book of the weight on my hands rather than the weight of the phone or phone of the Kindle, which many undergraduate students are now. They don't read books, because as Atul said, I had written books, and now I ask them whether you have bought the book. Yes, sir, हमारे पास है. कहाँ है? Sir, हमारे पास तो Kindle में है, phone में है. और वो phone और Kindle से ही सारा हो जाता है. मैं पूछता हूँ उसको अंडरलाइन कैसे करते हो? तो वो फैसिलिटी भी है. अब वो भी हो जाता है. सर देखिए, हमने अंडरलाइन नहीं किया हुआ है और मैं इसको इरेज कर दूंगा, मिट जाएगा, अगले वाला दोबारा से उसको अंडरलाइन कर लेगा. So technology, they have answers to each of my questions. Technology has overtaken, but anyway, they have to look at the screen every time they want to do. So you don't spend your time with the peers, family, regular exercise, and all other necessary physical, mental, and social skills. The research on media violence has shown that the main effects are aggression and fear. दोनों हैं. डर भी है बहुत सारी चीजों का, और एक डराने की प्रवृत्ति भी है, aggression भी है. Both are there. Teens are becoming less tolerant because they can have more of knee-jerk reaction on the social media. कुछ भी आया लिखा हुआ, they will immediately revert back. Otherwise, किसी ने कोई चिट्ठी लिखी तो आप 2 मिनट सोचते हो, कहीं फोन आया, फिर आपने सोचा कि जवाब क्या देना है, 5-10 मिनट में गुस्सा ठंडा हो जाता है. यहाँ तो 5-10 मिनट लगते नहीं है. Even after a single second, you reply back and you spoil your relations. So with the tolerance is highly decreased. And there is decreased concern about the pain and suffering of others. Now, even for the messages or condolences messages, may you send likes. That is something. किसी ने भी भेजा हो, 10-15 लाइक तो होते ही है, बाकी उनको पता नहीं कि इसमें लाइक भेजना है या कुछ लिखना चाहिए. कम से कम वो भेजना और वो टिक करना ज्यादा इजी लगता है. So I am sure you all know this, and moreover it has, एक कहते हैं ना कि विश्वास है, ट्रस्ट है. एक टीनेजर का दूसरे दोस्त पर विश्वास है, वो विश्वास खत्म हो गया. वो विश्वास क्यों खत्म हो गया? अब ये लगता है कि हर आदमी किसी खराब मोटिव से ये कर रहा है. तो दैट इज अ मीन वर्ल्ड सिंड्रोम, कि दुनिया खराब होती जा रही, सब खराब है. और उससे क्या होता है, हाउ दैट अफेक्ट्स अस, आवर लाइफ ओनली गेट्स वर्स. आई यूज्ड टू बिलीव एवरीबडी इज ओके. मैं कभी ऐसा सोचता नहीं था कि कभी कोई खराब है, सब ठीक है, तो वो भी बहुत अच्छी है, मैं भी बहुत अच्छा हूं. बट ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, later when people told me, नहीं इसमें ये देखो, इसमें ये देखो, इसमें ये खराबी है, ये खराबी है, तो कभी कभी वो दिमाग में आने लगा कि ये सब खराब, हर चीज में खराबी पहले देखना चाहिए. But finally I could get out of that situation and I am back now to square one, क्योंकि जिंदगी के 50 साल इसी में गुजारे थे कि सब चीजें बहुत अच्छी हैं. वो आखिर के 8-10 साल जो थे उसमें लगा कि नहीं, कुछ खराब भी पहले देखना चाहिए, but वो 50 years has taken over this 10 years and I'm back to square one. I'm happy about it. I now don't think that the world is mean. World is beautiful, and we have people like Atul and all my dear friends, Geeta ji, all of who are there. So world is beautiful. But वो सोचने के लिए वो 50 साल चाहिए, और वो 50 साल अगर आप सोशल मीडिया के साथ टीनेजर होना शुरू हो जाता है, वो 50 साल आपके पास नहीं मिलते. It commands youth. They have limited capacity. You all are adolescent experts. You know that they are vulnerable to peer pressures, and they will navigate with the social media. They will experiment with the social media. Prank करके भी experiment कर सकते हैं. उसके अंदर, as I said, it is a double-edged sword. It can exploit the vulnerability of the adolescent or modify the vulnerability to the strength of adolescent. दूसरे वाला कम होता है, पहले वाला ज्यादा होता है कि एडोलेसेंट का वल्नरेबिलिटी इंक्रीज हो जाती है. सो इट कैन, पेरेंट्स का क्या रोल है? पेरेंट्स आर फीलिंग, बिकॉज उनके लिए तो और भी नई चीज है. पेरेंट्स के लिए सोशल मीडिया उन्होंने नहीं देखा था जिंदगी में कभी, और अब सडनली दे फाइंड कि आपके 30 साल पहले के जो दोस्त हैं उनसे आप बात कर सकते हो. सो दे आर मोर इनटू सोशल मीडिया देन देयर टीन्स. And they're now living that age, so they can't regulate the teens on their social media. So they have had their offline life, parents, and now they're having an online life. लेकिन ये जो बच्चे हैं, जो आज के टीनेजर्स हैं, इनकी तो ऑफलाइन लाइफ हुई नहीं, कभी भी नहीं हुई. शुरू से जब से आए हैं तब से इनकी लाइफ ऑनलाइन ही चल रही है. So that offline somehow has to be introduced. And that's why parental controls on the social media are lacking. अभी 30-40 साल उस जनरेशन को नहीं हुए जो सोशल मीडिया यूज कर रही थी. So we don't exactly know कि माइंड पर उस एज पर जाकर क्या असर होगा. It is early to say, but असर जो भी होगा एक पॉजिटिव तो डेफिनेटली नहीं होगा, because of so much of research has said that it. I'm not taken that slide which typically shows that the soft areas of the brains are definitely showing some effects because of the social media. There are risks from other perils involved: cyberbullying, peer pressure, sexting, lack of understanding on online privacy issues. You all know about, I need not detail about cyberbullying. या तो आप बुली करने लगते हो या आप बुली होने लगते हो, दोनों ही चीजें खतरनाक हैं. And you must be reading about recently also there was some shooting in a school. This happens Western world में नहीं, Indian world में हो रहा है. And ये कहाँ से आ रहा है? ये स्कूल का खाली एटमॉस्फेयर नहीं गड़बड़ है. This is coming from the availability of such gadgets and also the knowledge about using them from the online platforms, from the social media. So that is also, the risk can be really devastating, and this may leave a long-lasting mental scars. Sexting we all know about. I need not go into the detail. फिर आया FOMO syndrome, fear of losing out, और Facebook depression. Like नहीं आया, पोस्ट डाली तो एक अजीब सा एक डिप्रेशन शुरू हो जाता है उसके बाद. And then you see others, बाकी लोग क्या क्या कर रहे हैं और आप वो नहीं कर पा रहे. हर आदमी की अपनी स्ट्रेंथ होती है, आपकी भी अपनी स्ट्रेंथ है, आप भी कुछ अच्छा कर रहे होंगे. जरूरी नहीं है कि जो बाकी बच्चे कर रहे हैं, बाकी टीनेजर्स कर रहे हैं, you should follow them. You are doing something good in your own sphere. The parents need to realize it, and parents need to hype on that positive energy. Don't turn to risky internet sites. And then फिर क्या होता है, teenagers turn to various blogs for help, है ना. वहां पर that may promote different kind of substance abuse, sexual practices, or mainly violence, aggressive or self-aggressive behaviors. Then there are privacy concerns of that. Nobody is concerned about private. Now people are concerned, but in the beginning, teenagers don't realize that there is a privacy issue. That the parents have to tell them that every move of yours is being watched. Every word that you say while your mobile is on also is being watched. आप अपना मोबाइल सामने रख के 10 बार बाटा 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 कहो, बाटा के ऐड आने शुरू हो जाते हैं फोन के. This is such a world. AI does all that. So it is on the social media also the same thing. happens. And because now you are easily accessible, teenagers, when you go into school and when you go into college, your college admission or your jobs could also be affected. AI is going into that direction. Now with the introduction of ChatGPT. With ChatGPT, adolescents now are getting into the world of artificial intelligence. And with that artificial intelligence, they are aware that yes, they are being watched and they can do wonders. So gradually, this all technology is taking over our mind. But again, the question is how far that will be done, on how far the computer can outweigh the human mind. So indiscriminate internet activity need to be curtailed. Pediatricians can educate families. Pediatrician can help parents to understand what is happening in the online world of their adolescents. Parental counseling is important. We have 3-4 guidelines on parental counseling with regard to social media and net in our parent guideline also. Parents need to talk to their children. They need to be more educated about this technology than their youngsters are using, because only then they will be able to guide and discuss them. क्या online topic देखना है, क्या privacy setting अपने social media sites पर रखना चाहिए, क्या online profile set up करना चाहिए so that you don't get pranks or don't get obscene messages. And whenever and let them see your social media sites. That is important. आपको मैं तुम्हारा supervise करूंगा and you are doing unsupervised things. So what you are seeing in the or doing on the social media is also, you can't teach or you can't say to the teens कि तुम मत करो लेकिन मैं कुछ भी करूंगा. So there has to be a active participation. Supervision is a two-way method. Then you can have these safety tips for the adolescents, for the teens, that you can say use your real name, don't give your personal information on the social media sites, change your privacy settings, and use complicated passwords, and never give out your travel plans where you are going, or use extreme caution when opening the sites. Make sure that your children understand what you consider appropriate. Rule ek banana bahut zaruri hai. That rules should be made in consultation with the teen. And that rules should apply for the family, and you also have to follow some rules. Inculcate good online behavior. Don't bully others. Don't get bullied. Don't send mean messages. Don't use the social media to make somebody feel bad. And finally, don't plagiarize and don't use the online information everywhere. Create a safer online experience. User tracking software, offensive websites can be blocked. And as I said, ये मान के चलिए कि बच्चे को आपकी ऑनलाइन एक्टिविटीज पता है. जब आपकी ऑनलाइन एक्टिविटीज एक रीजनेबल फ्रेम में होंगी, तो then they can also, this American Academy of Pediatrics has several resources on how to keep the kids safe in the cyber space. They have given their guidelines also on children internet use. We also released a guideline on screen use in 2021. So these are for the teens between 10 to 18 years, the IAP guidelines. Balance, there is no fixed time given कि इतना घंटा use होना चाहिए. You have to give adequate time to outdoor physical activity, कम से कम 1 घंटा, 8 to 9 hours of nighttime sleep. You should have time for schoolwork, meals, hobbies, peer interaction, and family time. अब बाकी जो बच्चा उसमें से कितना आप स्क्रीन टाइम कर लोगे, जितना स्क्रीन करोगे उसमें से कितना सोशल मीडिया कर लोगे, that much is allowed. But that should not be at the compromise or at the your cell phone final message has already replaced your camera, your calendar, and your alarm clock. Don't let it replace your family. The social media is good, but your family is finally supreme, and use social media to your advantage. As I said, this is a very recent systematic review in JAMA that was just released 2 months back, where they showed that this was a systematic review where they could get 29 studies and studied 19 screening tools. As you can see, 19 screening tools are available to use a social media disorder. So this is now a recognized term, social network use disorder. in children and adolescent. And you can go and read about it. And now it can be, so out of these 19 tools, the best 2 tools that can be used one is the social media disorder scale short form, SMDS-SF, and other is the Burgeon social media addiction scale. It is, I think the time is too less, and probably this is too technical to discuss these tools here, so I won't go into these details. So final conclusions, that not only have these sites garnered global attention, but they have sadly made you, me, and our teens self-addicts. Entirely social media अच्छा है, खराब है, श्राप है, वरदान है, उस पर निर्भर करता है कि हम उसे कैसे यूज करते हैं, हमारे टीम्स उसको कैसे यूज करते हैं. And it can give you fantastic returns if you use it judiciously. Spend less time on SNS and more time in the real world. Online come, offline zyada. It is a superpower, hence handle it with utmost responsibility. Thank you. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak in front of you. Once again, I thank Dr. C.P. Bansal sir and Dr. Atul Kanikar for providing me with the material to prepare this preparation.
Thanks a lot, sir. Nick, I say that it was an excellent presentation because it shows on everybody's face that it was really a very enlightening presentation. There are a few inputs from Dr. Geeta Patil madam about some scale SV that you have already discussed, but she may put it in the chat box. And there is one query from Dr. Jayashree Shivalkar madam that many times once the child realizes that he has been brought to the pediatrician's office for excess social media use or excess internet use, the child refuses to come for follow-up. So what are your comments on that?
I didn't get it, sir. Can you please repeat?
If the child who is brought usually by the parents for excess media use to a pediatrician's office, once the child realizes it is the social media that has been victimized by the pediatrician, the child refuses to keep up with the follow-up. So how do you deal with these types of situations?
I think more than the pediatrician or the counselor, it is the parents who have to take the primary responsibility of doing that. So that doesn't matter. It is okay. Pediatrician to एक outsider है. It is the family which is more important, and it is the primary duty of the family which should, which has to be with the child. And I'll request you also to comment on that.
Sir, what we do in our practice, most of us, is that we make the most use of the first visit. We don't actually see many teenagers who keep for follow-up in our private practice. So when you see the child for the first time, it could be the last time that you're seeing the child. So whatever you want to educate to the child and ask for whatever inputs that you want from the child, you can deal with the parents at follow-up. The child need not come. And that is what you wanted to say, that it's the parents who are more important at home management of such problems. So thank you so much.
I agree. You have more experience. See, because you are doing it in the real world. I'm speaking more from a theoretical angle and from what
this was not theoretical at all. This was absolutely practical. We learned a lot from today's session of yours as usual. So don't think that you are talking theoretical. It was absolutely down to a practical day-to-day management for practicing pediatricians, and that is the dictum of MahaAP program today and every month. So thank you so much, sir. So we move on to our third speaker of the day, Dr. Sonia Bhatt from Agra. And good to see you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Professor and head of the Department of Pediatrics at Agra. She's keenly interested in pulmonology. She has so many research and papers published in pulmonology, allergy, and she has been sharing a lot of activities on adolescent well-being in the last year or so. She has 25 papers already published in the national and international journals. She is keenly interested, and she is a master trainer in basic life support, asthma module, and life skills education. And I'm actually jealous of Dr. Sonia Bhatt madam because she has 2 daughters. So, and I have no daughter at all. So, thank you for joining, Sonia Bhatt madam. You can start your talk now. You have 20 minutes to.
Yes. So thanks a lot. So my screen is seen, I suppose.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
So a warm good afternoon to all of you. And at the outset, I would like to thank the organizers and office bearers of Maharashtra IAP, AHA Nasik. My heartfelt thanks to Atul Kanikar sir for giving me an opportunity to be part of this excellent initiative. And my regards to Dr. Geeta Patil ma'am, Piyush Gupta sir, and all the Dr. Aryan Sharma sir I can see, and all the seniors who are present over here. So I would say that words of wisdom have already come from sir about the social media, the uses, the abuses, the way we are using it, and even the guidelines for parents and the students. So in the next 20 minutes, what I would like to take you along, or we all will discuss is like, because when we are talking about media education, media literacy, we all should believe that this is not ending here with our discussion. This is, we all are here to take a pledge we have to take it forward. So we have to take it to the schools, we have to take it to the teachers, and we have to take it to the students so that we make it more fruitful. And actually this should come in practice, and some benefit should be there. So next 20 minutes, we will try to say how our presentation should be to the teachers, to the parents, to the students, and tell them how to, because media is here to stay. As sir told, it's here to stay, and we have to start living gracefully with it. So how to go about in this our presentation in school, that is a bit, and how, and I would also like to tell you that if the parents or the student is trapped in this media by some purpose, even so, how they can take help from this. So first, let us know that a problem becomes an epidemic when it comes to the newspapers. When it's to the literature, when it's to a book, we know it's endemic. It's not disturbing. When we see that it's happening in the society, it's really epidemic. So first thing, so Gujarat Police last month, 12,500 cybercrime complaints already lodged. And this is a report from McAfee, which says Indian children are more likely to be victimized by cyberbullying. And the data given is that we are the people who are giving this mobiles at the youngest age to our teenagers. And it's 83% usage of mobile phones in 10 to 14 years, which is 7% higher than the global average. And when we see about the concerns, our parents are less concerned. So our concern is 10% lower than the global average, but our usage is more than around 10% more than. Then this is again a disturbing news where we see a cyberbullying child taking their life. Again, when we thought it's only about stalking, sexting, and cyberbullying, we know that money laundering and all these things are happening through social media. And the second news which you see is a real news which has happened to my own friend, a qualified pathologist. 22 lakh got duped from her account last week only. So we know that this problem is real. And when I thought my presentation is done today morning, I saw this again, this news from a local newspaper from Agra. So we know this is their mammoth problem now. So whenever we are talking about it, first thing when we talk to the parents or the teenagers, we talk to them that this is a problem and we need to focus on teenagers. The first question comes from our own children are that you are also using. Everyone is using, but why we are being focused, why we should restrict. So always, so this, I make a point to talk about adolescent brain development to teachers and even to the students on whatever talk I take, because they should know that though earlier we thought that the adolescent brain develops by 18 years, now functional MRIs have shown that it's 24 to 25 years when the prefrontal cortex or the cortex which helps us to take judgments takes to develop. And the adolescents are more sensitive to emotional and social evaluations, and the control is from bottom to top, and the amygdala, which is the emotional part, that is the part which takes a more upper hand in the teenagers, and that's why they behave, and that is why they are more towards the risk-taking behaviors. And once you speak to them about this, definitely they understand that why they need to seek a parental help, why they need to seek a teacher's help. So again, talk to them about the reward circulatory system, because we know that the reward circulatory system or the ventral striatum is more developed in adolescents. So anytime they get an easy kick, easy dopamine from any activities, they are more prone to get a high. And this is what happens. And the other figures which shows that your social media is no less than the narcotic drugs. So this is how we talk to adolescents when we talk that why we are telling them that we need to focus on them, or the parents need to supervise their children. So this is how the adolescent brain is neuroplastic. So that is what Sir was talking about, that what is neuroplasticity? It is the changes in the synapses of the neuronal pathways due to environment, emotion, experience, and behavior. So there are many studies which say that if you spend more than 3 to 4 hours in a social media, it has a negative correlation to the gray to the white matter density, which is in the prefrontal cortex, the main judgment area. There's a negative reinforcement to the activity of the medial prefrontal cortex, which is again associated with the attention control. And the studies have proved that a teenager who is checking his social media for more than 15 times a day becomes more sensitive to the social feedback, and their amygdala becomes more sensitive to the likes, dislikes, which we are commonly seeing. So with this background, let's start with an interesting case. So this is one case, Kavita. She presented to us with irritability, disturbed sleep for 2 to 3 months. She had a reduced appetite for 2 to 3 months, and her teacher also complained that she's aloof and has poor concentration in the classroom. And this child now wants to leave home, go somewhere else. So a detailed assessment, when it was done, the first thing we got, the important thing which we got apart from the family history, that she had been being gifted a new smartphone in her birthday. She had a poor concentration in the class. She also had some depressive thought, and she was not aware, because no one had spoken to her about social media, the parents, the teachers, so she was not aware of the media etiquettes. And now of late, she had started getting some separate messages from a person who was again threatening her to meet her alone. Her examination was normal, and when she was taken through this Beck's depression inventory score, and she had mild mood disturbances, the score was 15. So this is again a 21 pointer, where we give scores, and the 15 is suggestive of mild mood disturbances. And the internet addiction score, which was used by young Kimberly, that was 55, which is moderate internet addiction. This can be kept if we are dealing with students like this. We can keep these things which are easily available in the internet. So again, the provisional diagnosis of moderate internet addiction, mild mood disturbance, poor school performance, and cyberbullying was made for this child. So here the question comes, could we have prevented this? Did the parents miss some early red flag signs? Let's have a quick look and to the early red flag signs. So if your teenager is staying online longer than intended, if he prefers media indulgence rather than social interaction, if he has anxiety if the internet connection fails, or if this child avoids discussing his activities with you, then definitely these are the red flag signs. Please, the parents should be told that they should always keep these things an eye on this. And the red flags can also be noted by if you have a sibling, teachers, and the schools. If a child has frequent absenteeism, if he's having frequent queries, if he's stealing, if he's trespassing, if his scores are going down, then definitely we should suspect this child underlying disorder, and it should be picked up early. Again, some other important terms which we should be aware, being pediatricians, or being to take this forward, is internet addiction. We all know, but there are some other terms like phantom vibration. Sometimes a child or a person would feel that the mobile is ringing, even if there is no not ringing. That's phantom vibration. Sometimes they have a mobile phone compulsion. They make unnecessary, excessive calls, and to the extent that when they keep on using that, they may have cybersexual addiction or even cyber relationship addiction. So these are the various health risk factors which are already being discussed, and among this, anxiety, depression, poor school performance, and cyberbullying was what we saw in Kavita. And these are the another terms which the parents and an adolescent expert or the pediatrician or primary care physician should be aware. So apart from cyberbullying, stalking, which we have already talked about, troll, we know troll is an internet slang for a person who intentionally tries to instigate conflict and hostility. Doxing is another form of cyberbullying, which I just came to know, that using sensitive or secret information statements. Hacking, we all have heard of, that refers to the activities that seek to compromise digital devices. And again, phishing is a dangerous type of cyberbullying, or where a social engineering attack, where they use to steal user data, including login credentials and credit card numbers, where a lot of bank forgeries are happening. So can we identify sir had already explained, yes, we can identify, you can be a victim and you can be a perpetrator also. So a victim is usually a person, when you see he'll be upset after being online, there'll be sudden drop in academic performances, there'll be a lot of mood swings, and a perpetrator usually has low self-esteem. This child maybe himself may be a cyber victim, and maybe he's not able to say something to a person's face, and then he'll start cyberbullying. So how to help, Kavita? Now the parents have come to you with all these complaints. What are the legal ways of helping the child? And what are the ways where psychologically we can build up the child? So legal actions can be taken. So for all the things which I have given on right, you can take legal actions for this. If you are threatened with harassment, please inform local police, tell the parents. Cyber police station is available. Every major city has a cyber crime branch. 1930 is a number. There's a definite, and this is the IT, Information Technology Act 2000, which has been amended, which deals with all these kind of problems. There's a separate site for it. And dealing with cyberbullying. So how to deal with cyberbullying, how to counsel the child, that we have to tell that whenever you are facing this, you have to tell a trusted adult and should avoid reading messages from a cyberbully. Once you've received messages, please, you can block it and never erase those messages. Keep a record of it because it may be required in future if you have to take any action. So what is a long-term management? Like suppose parents are ready, teachers are helping, a complaint has been done, but the child, that psychological trauma that will be remaining with the child. So long-term management in these cases. So we have the psychological components. We should encourage this child to take up social activities, take up hobbies, team sports, after school clubs. Parents have to again monitor because it's an addiction. So they have to keep monitoring the computer use of the child, recognize the underlying problems. Never close your eyes because there may be some substance abuse going on, and even apart from that, there may be some recent family changes. Maybe it could be a divorce, it could be a death of a loved one. So all these things can come up as these complaints. Apart from that, we have to help building coping skills, as ma'am has already told about cognitive restructuring, behavioral modification. That is the part if she really requires intervention, and we have to strengthen the support system. As we told, it cannot be one person, it cannot be pediatrician, it has to be family, friends, teachers who can help the person to sorry. So there, I'm sorry, just there was a call. So this is a comprehensive approach for the media addiction. Evaluate for comorbids. So whenever a child like this comes to you, please evaluate for the comorbid conditions like eating disorders, mood, anxiety disorders, sleep disorders, substance abuse, which I've already talked about, and rule out the causes, organic causes, then go for the comprehensive management. It is usually individual and family counseling, cognitive behavioral therapy, motivation interviewing, and drugs. So these are the ways we have to take it. Another case too, quickly, I'll go to the case two. This is Anjali, a 14-year-old child who has soon got a request from a person who is claimed to be from the same neighborhood. They started chatting and then again they got friendly. So one day he was asked to share some private pictures. Initially, she was apprehensive, but later then she gave in. And once she had sent these pictures, this person started sending some obscene messages to her. And then he morphed her images. He was threatening to upload these pictures. So he was, and now she's extremely scared and does not know what to do. So what is this case? So this could, as I told, that this could be a case of sexting. So how to help this child? Will this case come under POCSO? So sexting is the term which is used to describe of sharing intimate images or videos to another person. It could be in the form of text, partial nudity. It could be in various platforms. So sexting a minor under this is illegal, and even if this is so, a child or a teenage can be helped under the POCSO Act. So these are the various acts which will, or these are the various legal ways of helping a child. POCSO 2012 carries these sections where you can complain under sexual harassment. Information Technology 2000, which has been amended in 2008, I have already told, and there is IPC 1860, which the parents and the teachers and the teenage should be aware of. So how can the parent and the caregiver help the children? As we already told that it's a parent's primary job, but the study shows that Indian parents, the sense of cybersecurity or the cyber safety is less. It's almost 20% less than the counterparts in the Western world. And the Indian students kids are also smart enough. A study I was going through showed that 59% of the students, they deleted their chat history before their parents could come to know. And so the most important thing is that we have to be aware. The parents have to be aware, alert. They have to be role models. And whenever you talk to parents during this time, please tell them to be authoritative parents with assertiveness. Explain there, because we cannot be permissive parents. We cannot be easily giving in, and neither we can be authoritarian that give a command, because the teenage then would never listen to us. Then the important thing is do talk about, or we always talk about the parental control apps, which these are the few to name, but there are various control apps which the parents can take and help the teenage. And this is WWW approach, where the parents should know who the teenagers meets online, what do they do online, and where do they go online. And again, keep a note of these two numbers, 1930 and 1098, whenever a teenager is in problems. Screen time guidelines have already been discussed in detail by Sir. So as a teenager, as an adolescent expert, as a primary physician, what is our role? Can we routinely, as we were discussing, that the teenage would never come back to us, and he would rarely come to us with these problems. Most of the time, either the parents would come to us, or a teenage or a child would come to us with some different physical problem, where we anticipate or we note as we during the behavior, checking their mobile screen, the fidgeting, the eye contact. That time we really will be able to pick up if something is going on. So, role of pediatricians. We have to assess. First thing is assess, because no one is going to tell us. So internet, social media usage, and their online safety. Then we have to assist. How to assess them, how to do the safe usage of internet. So this is anticipation, and that should go on with every child. And more importantly, how can we help is conducting more and more awareness programs, school programs. That is where we'll catch up early, because once they reach to the stage of Kavita or the other case I have discussed, that's a little late to catch up. So what should be the action? If we have got a case like this, we have to provide appropriate referrals, work with the family, guardians and caregivers, and conduct awareness programs. So what can we do? We can conduct awareness programs. We can build partnerships with the allied departments such as police. We can improve our self-capacity by going on trainings and learning how to deal with social media ourselves, and then disseminating the knowledge further, and work with the family, and always tell them to how to fight with the fake news, because fake news are the one in the WhatsApp. So usually we should always tell them to go to the original source or the URL of the study or the news we are getting, and then testify. Anticipatory guidance for teens. So we have to tell them that do not carry mobile to bed, monitor screen time, should never disclose their personal information, OTP and password should never be shared, and we have to report any adversities immediately. So that having a trust buddy is very important. So any one person in the family, teacher, maybe a good friend, they should always have. Lifestyle modification should always be talked whenever we are getting them. So we have to talk to them about curbing disruptive smartphone habits, which Sir discussed. Sleep hygiene is very important. So once you tell them that 8 to 9 hours of sleep is required, and a 20-minute rule that even whenever you are using social media or media for 20 minutes, you should always take a break for 20 minutes. Talk to them about protective glasses, and these things should be talked. This is what we can put in a give to school. We can give to the parents to how to use this mobile phone correctly. So the position should be talked about. The various sites, AAP has its own guidelines, IAP has guidelines. There are many other videos which will help your child, your teen to use the media safely. So these should be passed on. And the most important thing, which we as parents, which as teachers miss, that we have to empower a child with life skills. So once they know the life skills, once they know how to say no, once they know assertiveness, once they know how to effectively communicate, definitely they will know how to use the social media better. And we should teach them about decision taking, critical thinking in such a situation when they are caught, trapped, and they should always be resilient. Coping with stress, these should be talked about. So the earlier we educate a child, that is better. Internet addiction, these are the effects. There's poor sleep, waste of time. You have a lot of skeletal problems, backaches. And once you digitally disconnect, or you detox, definitely are going to come back to your normal. So the take-home messages would be that pediatricians have an important role in empowering parents and adolescents regarding safe media usage. Whenever you are doing HEDIS, you should always take a point to take history of their media usage and cyber harassment. Inculcating life skills since early childhood can help the adolescent being resilient and self-disciplined. Media education and self-discipline are the only fortification for ourselves and our children also. So this is one beautiful quote which is from Amy Jo Martin. So she's a famous philanthropist and an author. So just as we teach our children how to ride a bike, we need to teach them how to navigate social media and make the right moves that will help them. The physical world is similar to the virtual world in many cases. It's about being aware. We can prevent many debacles if you're educated. So thank you. So I think we all have a role to play, parents have a role to play, and we all need to discipline ourselves before we go take it to the children. So thanks again. And here I would like to acknowledge Dr. Geeta Patil ma'am first, because a lot of material what I've presented, I've taken from her, Dr. Atul Kanikar sir, and also the RKSK, this facilitators guide, which has helped me a lot to prepare this presentation. Thanks a lot to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sonia. It's a wonderful and enlightening talk. It's my fortunate to deliver the vote of thanks. And I really thank Maharashtra IAP and Nasik IAP for giving me this opportunity to thank all of you. Our all three speakers and our moderator, Dr. Atul sir, has done a wonderful job. I sincerely thank Dr. Paula ma'am for guiding on the body image and making us aware that each body is beautiful and we should take care of it. I sincerely thank Dr. Piyush Gupta sir for enlightening us on teens and social media, also awareing us and warning us that 160% increase in aggression is due to social network use, the new terminology, and also making us aware about the 19 tools that we can use for the screening the addiction rate. I sincerely thank our last speaker, Sonia Bhatt ma'am, for enlightening us on the media education and guiding us properly how to use it and WWW approach for the teens. I sincerely thank my audience who have all the time attentive and listen very patiently and carefully. Last but not the least, our flyer maker and our YouTube link and Zoom link maker, Dr. Pallavi Dharmadhikari ma'am, for doing this job wonderfully. Last but not the least, I also thank all the pediatricians who are going to watch this video again on the YouTube, which is going to be live. I request all of you to join this monthly program, which we are going to have every first Sunday of each month. This is our 4th session, and we are upcoming with many more sessions under the guidance of Dr. Atul sir. This whole idea is from Dr. Adi Patil sir and Dr. Amal Pawar sir, who is the President and Secretary of Maharashtra IAP. I also thank our Nasik AHA President, Dr. Suchita Malvatkar ma'am. I hope you have all a wonderful session. Happy Sunday to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Dhanyawad.